All right, so the last thing we're going to talk about, what is your message to the youth of America and the world? And it doesn't even have to be related to soccer, coming from a professional athlete. And then what is your message to parents and coaches as well? And maybe how they need to maybe be a little bit more aware of their actions, because they're the ones that are will be relaying the message to the youth. So what's your message for all that?
To the youth, to stay young forever. No, the youth have to, of course, enjoy their youth and play as much as they can, socialize, explore themselves, explore the world around them, figure out, ask questions, never get tired of what's next, because that sense of curiosity of finding new things goes away after a while, and I think it's a very important phase to cherish. And if you find things that you love when you're young, great for you. Enjoy them, work really hard at them, and enjoy all the little things that come with that grind of doing something that you love. For the coaches, I think as coaches it's really hard, because at times in soccer you almost kill the talent, just because you have to focus on the team. You have to create a team dynamic, and a lot of individual talent, raw talent, has to be conditioned to work in a certain way for the benefit of the team. And as a purist of the game, at times I don't feel right when I tell a little kid that's very good at dribbling, hey, you can't dribble that much, you have to look for that pass, because he has a talent for it, but he also needs to understand that there's other phases of the game. So coaches, we need to try to stay in that thin line between helping them understand the game but not limiting their natural abilities. I also think it's important for coaches to not be prideful or not think that they know the truth, because the game of soccer is a matter of opinion, and everybody's right, and everybody is right because for a reason. They've all had a background in it. They've all had their own personal experience that have led them to believe in what they do. Mm-hmm. And if you can't respect that about another coach, then you're not really learning.
Right.
And ultimately what you want to do is you want to hear as many different opinions, and from there create your own without thinking that yours is better than the rest.
Right.
But so you have to be committed for who you're coaching, and it's not about yourself. And that's what I think a mistake as coaches we make. We start thinking it's about us. We think we have the influence, and at the end of the day, without the players, coaches are nothing.
Right.
So you have to stay aware that the big picture, and the big picture is the kids or the players that you have. And for the parents need to support their kids. They need to encourage them. They need to believe in them, and that's about it.
Right.
I don't think you can control how fast your kid develops or how your kid reacts, and I think that's for them to find out. That's the most unselfish thing to do. But the support, the encouragement, and the belief is extremely good. And just because he has a 4.0 GPA doesn't mean he's going to be a happy man. Just because he was the leading goal scorer doesn't mean he's going to be a happy man. The only thing you need to encourage in your kids, in my opinion, my humble opinion, is for them to figure out what makes them happy, what makes them feel good, and what makes them be people of good.
Right. Yeah, and then I'll have a short message for each of those groups as well. So a message for the youth, just to go out there and try different things, just like Renato was talking about. Go out there, play badminton, play soccer, play and explore as many different things as possible. Go out there and climb a tree. Go out there and just go outside, experience the sun, experience the wind, experience what it is to run outside and play with your friends. And whatever sport or whatever activity you enjoy doing, whether it's band, whether it's soccer, whether it's whatever it may be, even if it's not traditional sport, like maybe like a rugby or cricket, right? Go out there, just try it. Always have an open mind, and that's going to help you in the long run, as you saw how to help Renato to maintain health. Message for the coaches: you're going to have a lot of kids that are in the same age group, maybe U11s, just to give an example, and you have a bunch of 11-year-olds that one's this height and one's this height, right? And to basically sum it up is that they're both chronologically 11 years old. They've both been on this world for 11 years, but they're biologically very different. And that doesn't mean that this kid who is a little bit clumsier and this kid who has really good skill on the ball and is really quick doesn't mean that they're necessarily going to be the professional player. This kid could develop and become that player, or vice versa, right? So I would just say give everybody an even fair chance, an even shot. Of course, play to win, right? But also play to develop. Like, you should be seeing that these height differences go deeper. It's a biological development. There's a reason why this kid has heavy feet and is running clumsier than that other kid who's running really sharp, right? And there's a whole slew of things that you could be doing for that, and that'll probably be in future videos that I'll explain on what to do and what dose of athleticism and what windows of athleticism that the kids need at certain times to ensure that their brain will develop correctly and their bone formation and all these things will happen and contribute to their whole life. Because what you're doing to them right now is going to affect them for the rest of their life, because it's forever going to be engraved in their brain, and that's the bottom line. There's no changing that ever again. I see a lot of people out in the clinic right now who are adults, and there's a lot of interventions and a lot of things we can do to help these adults. But the bottom line is that these patterns that I'm teaching these adults, and even Renato, these patterns that I was teaching him in college, are things that he'll be able to have at his disposal, but he won't be able to use them 100% if he wasn't practicing things like that as a child. And thankfully he grew up in an upbringing where he was doing different things and climbing trees. There's a lot of people who didn't have that upbringing, and so my goal at this point for an adult is to kind of just make sure that they take the functional pathway 90% of the time, and hopefully 10% of the time they only go back to their original patterns that maybe aren't as functional or as efficient. So my message to the parents is tell your kids that you love the way that they play. That's all you gotta say. Just tell them that you love the way they run, you love the way they play, you love what they did, and just always show support, and they're gonna find their way, and they're gonna be okay. But just keep letting them know that you love the way that they play. That's it. So that's a great conversation, man.
Thank you, Jeremy. I
Glad
appreciate all your help.
Yeah, no problem, man. It was so much fun, and it's just a really cool feeling being able to work with someone and see you kind of grow and continue to mature and become a professional. It's just like a really cool thing to be able to help you and know that I was a part of that for you, part of that experience. So it's nice that we can also share our minds and maybe little snapshots. I wish we could talk for longer, and little snapshots of like what we did and who we are to the world. But we at least got a small message out there to let them know what we did and what it takes to become a professional, right?
Yes, this is just the beginning, and again, I think you need to continue with your positive attitude and your encouragement to the world, and little by little there'll be more believers in what you do and what you preach.
Right, exactly. Awesome. Thank you. Yep, again.